Hey, my name is Hallow. Um, just gonna pop in for a minute. Oh, damn, I thought I had a burp. Sometimes they'll come later. But, I remember when, it was about a week ago. There we go. Woohoo! My soul sister and I were talking about this show. Like I said, she kind of was encouraging and putting the seed in my head to do this, and I'll have to ask her if I'm wrong, but I think she was saying do a daily thing, and I remember in my head, I didn't say anything to her, but I remember in my head thinking, what? How the hell am I going to do this every day? And it might not be every day. For me, music, art, creating, improvisation, that's the hugest component, driving force behind anything I'm doing. So I don't like having rules and parameters and everything. So that's why I'm not going to say when the show will be or whatever, the set schedule or whatever. It's just whatever. So I just thought of some funny shit I wanted to talk about. My journey began in 2017, and that's another story, so I gotta keep focused on the original reason I came on here. But let me think how this all got started. Okay, I was in big trouble. I was in death's driveway. I knew it. I spent a lot of nights in 2017 going to bed thinking I'm not going to wake up in the morning. My coworkers were also deeply concerned. Like anytime I was late for work, they were kind of afraid, did she die in her sleep? You know what I mean? It was deep and crazy. So it all kind of came to a head. Like I said, that's a different day, a different story. But they had some sit downs with me, the people I work with, that they're also my friends, just as a side note. And I'd been working for them for 10 years at that point, over 10 years. And then the one person, my soul sister, who helps run the companies, we've known each other for 30 years. So it's all from love. And they're like, girl, you have to go. You have to see a doctor. So when it finally came to a head and I had to go, I ended up going to the urgent care that was closest to me, which happened to be part of a Catholic-run network. So I say that with love. I'm not saying that. I am proud of my Catholic roots. I like to jokingly say I'm half Catholic, but I mean it as well because that's my father's background. My father came from a large-ass Catholic family, devout Catholic family. And he had 3 sisters and 2 brothers. So there's a family of 6 kids. So, through the natural progression of everything, when everything started playing out, like I said, these are other stories to elaborate on, but I just want to kind of touch on it because it's funny. So when I go to my hospital, I have a regular hospital I go to. It's like right by my house, but it's in this network that's a Catholic-owned network that's very famous and stuff. So I'm not going to name names sometimes when I talk, and it's not because I'm hiding. It's because I'm not trying to shame anybody or get anybody hating on anybody or whatever, drama, because sometimes your experiences you have are a certain thing, but someone else might walk into the same situation and have a totally different experience that's positive for them. So I don't want to piss on that. I mean, but anyway, so the thing I was laughing about, thinking about a minute ago, I'm feeling good right now. I've been started my antibiotics. Let's see, I've taken my second round of antibiotics. I'm getting ready to have to take some more in an hour and a half. That's the other freaky thing. Like every fucking 6 hours, you gotta take this shit. So, here, let me get this off so I don't get dinged. Waiting for the night boat. So when I'm in the Catholic hospital, anytime I'm in the hospital, keep in mind it's a Catholic hospital. I'm always really fully aware of that. Like, I remember how funny it was to me the first time I was there in 2017. They kept me for about a week and a half or so, which scared the shit out of me. I thought they were going to have to crack open my chest and put a stent in my heart. I don't know what the fuck they were going to do to me. They kept me for over a week because they couldn't stabilize my blood pressure, is what they kept telling me. But the funny, miraculous thing is, once that initial stabilization of my blood pressure took place in 2017, I've been doing pretty great. Pretty great. And then for the last year, my blood pressure has been the best it's ever been, where I actually was able to discontinue some meds, blood pressure meds. But the thing I'm laughing to myself thinking about just now is memories of how all the different team members you have to deal with when you're in the hospital. And I kind of rattled off some on the last episode, but another critical team member, because you're in a Catholic hospital, is the chaplain. And the reason I'm laughing is, those first few times that I was in the hospital, I think I've had 4 or 5 hospital admits since 2017, and I'm always there at least a week, a lot of times longer whenever I do have to go. But the first few times they would send me a dude priest, and I remember it was kind of freaking cool as hell and surreal that first time I was in the hospital, because there's not a lot to watch. They don't have a lot of different channels in the hospital, and I kind of felt a little bit of censorship or content control happening in the hospital. Like, I was missing some of my channels and wondering, are they too racy? I don't know. Or is it just it could be a money thing too. That makes sense as well. But documentaries, there was some kind of news channel they have, and it was so awesome. It's my first time being admitted to a hospital in my whole life, in the sense of, like, maybe one time as a kid, I broke my leg and I had to go to the hospital for a couple days, that kind of shit. But other than that, no, never. And it's like in the middle of the night, a Saturday night, and this really kick-ass documentary comes on about the Satanic Temple. And I was loving that, just the whole surreality of it all. I'm sitting in this Catholic hospital, not knowing if I'm getting ready to live or die, and I'm watching this documentary about the Satanic Temple, because they're pretty interesting. Unfortunately, I've heard some weird stuff come out lately. I have to research it, though, so I'm not going to speak on it in case it's misinformation. But what I will say is, from the research I've done so far about them, what I respect about them is their analytical minds, and they're very well thought out in their philosophies, and they're very committed to nonviolent philosophies. And they have actually parted ways with, like, the Detroit chapter. I think that was the city. The lady that ran that was trying to had some violent hate speech about Trump, and they're like, no, we can't do that. And they're right. They have to be careful how they act, because people are gunning for them regardless. But another thing that had happened was I had seen this really kick-ass documentary about Jesus. So I was thinking that was really heavy on my mind when this chaplain was sent to me. So I got really excited when the man of the Lord came to visit me, because I'm like, oh, cool. He knows. You would hope a person that has become a priest or whatever is well-versed in the Bible and Jesus and all that, and could have a healthy discussion. But like I said, for me, Catholicism is a little girl. I'm a little girl standing out on the street, looking in through the church windows at a tribe that I'm a member of by birth, but I'm not included in because of circumstance. So I've always had a fascination with Catholicism all my life. I love rosaries. I love the imagery. It's a different kind of setup, the relationship they're taught to have with God, than the relationship I grew up with. I was raised in a Methodist home where the way it's all interpreted is, especially with and that's what my grandma's version of Christianity is, we serve God best when we're serving others. And we have a personal individual relationship with the Lord. But like in the from what I'm understanding about Catholicism, you need a middleman and you have all these other people in between you and God that you have to go through. And please forgive me if I speak out of ignorance. Like I said, I'm totally respect and love. I know Catholicism isn't perfect, but no religion or no group of humans ever is when they get together. But I fondly learn about Catholicism because I'm the little girl standing out in the street, looking through the windows of the church, wondering about what is my dad's life like? What was his family's life like? How was he raised? What kind of things was he taught when he was growing up? All those are going to be mysteries for me because everybody's dead now. So the older I got to where I could ask these questions, the less people were alive to ask them. So when I did know a lot of my dad's relatives and my dad, I was a little kid and I didn't have all those questions yet. I didn't understand a lot. But it was just so funny to get back to it. I got derailed. When they send that chaplain. And he's just coming, I guess he just... You could say what I asked of him was beyond his pay scale. And he just wanted to come in and maybe pray for me a few minutes and leave. But I was all excited because I'm in the hospital. I'm all alone. I'm going to be talked to. There's not a lot of stimulation going on in the hospital. It's a very boring environment, but the point is to rest and get better and get the fuck out. So I was all excited. I could have and I wasn't going to have like a challenge the existence of Jesus conversation with him, but I just wanted to talk about some of the concepts I had seen in this documentary about Jesus. And you should have seen his eyes when I was all excited to talk about it. Y'all, I think you already know, he never came back. He thought of whatever the fuck polite excuses he could think of to keep it moving, and he was supposed to come back later so we could chit chat, and I never saw that dude again. So the funny thing that is funny is the next few times I went, they would send me dudes or whatever, and I didn't really have a lot to say to them and stuff. Or if I'm going to talk to a priest or whatever, I'm going to want to have philosophical conversation and discussion because I'm a philosophy major. That's my specialty, religions of the world. So, and then just as a side note, I'll end my story with this. The most positive, they finally end up sending a woman to me. And all this could be coincidence. I'm not saying it's, it's all, I think it's probably all luck of the draw, like who you get sent. The chaplains probably take turns rotating where they are. And then I've noticed I'm always placed in different parts of the hospital every time I'm there, depending on, what's available, what's not, where they can put you. And so I remember like one of the last times I've been in the hospital, they finally sent me a lady chaplain, and it was a totally different vibe, y'all. She stayed with me for a while. And we talked about some other things. We didn't necessarily talk about, like I said, by then, that Jesus documentary, that was a few years later that when I just come fresh off seeing that and want to talk about that with somebody. But I noticed the difference was interesting to me between the male chaplains they sent me who really didn't want to talk to me really. But the lady chaplain they sent me, she was very, very, very satisfying conversation of really listening to me and acting like she really wanted to be there for me, whatever I want to talk about. I guess that's how I look at it too. If you're being sent, if they're sending people to you to help nurture your soul in the hospital, then it should be up to you what you talk about, and they should be down with it. And unless you're cursing profanities at them and telling them Satan's going to possess them that night or whatever, that's okay if you don't want to listen to that. That's fair. But other than that, you should listen to whatever your patient wants to talk about. They're the one that is sick and maybe dying or whatever, and maybe it's going to be the last week on earth. Let them talk about whatever they want to talk about. But yeah, the lady chaplain was kick ass, y'all. She was a beautiful woman in the sense of she was there. She was really doing what I think the chaplain's function in the hospital should be. To hear me, what do I want to talk about, give me thoughtful feedback. It was beautiful, honestly. But yeah. All right. Maybe it's not as funny a story now that I've told it. I really intended to sleep until my next time, but for some reason I just woke up hungry and wide awake, which is cool because that's a good sign. That means you're feeling better and doing better. So, I will get back to, I've been snacking a little bit, and now I've got some Gary Newman on the video jukebox. Take care, y'all. Agape love to everyone.